Hello, Internet. My name is Roro, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I wanted to talk about the importance of cover songs. Are cover songs important? Should you make cover songs? And just my general feelings about covering other people's music. All right, let's get into it. So, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about cover songs is country music and folk music, because that's such an important part of that culture is covering songs and performing standards. You can say the same thing about jazz music. They don't call it covering necessarily, but a lot of jazz groups or jazz musicians will play a lot of the same music because it's essentially a standard for the genre. And I think this is important, especially in these two types of music, country, I guess country folk and jazz, because it allows you to just perform music with other people right away. Now, I don't personally create folk music, play folk music, or jazz really, so I don't necessarily speak on behalf of a folk artist or a jazz artist, but I know enough people throughout my time as a musician to get some sort of insight. And I think there is like a level of respect as well, where it's like you're sort of respecting the elder songs of the style, if that makes sense. So that's just my opinion on that stuff. But also, cover songs are very prevalent in pop music, of course. You know, a big example would be I Will Always Love You. Originally written and performed by Dolly Parton, but famously performed by Whitney Houston. And this is an example of taking a song and respecting it at its core, but transforming it into something different. I think another good example of this is All Along the Watchtower, originally written, performed by Bob Dylan, but famously performed by Jimi Hendrix because he took it from this like folk place and brought it to rock and roll and did it in his own way with his own style. And I think that's something that is very important about cover songs is presenting the performer's style, which is something that I'll get more into later. Frank Ocean is a great example of a modern pop songwriter and performer that does a very good job of covering songs. Like, for example, his version of Moon River. Honestly, the first time I heard it, I didn't know it was a cover. I didn't know the original song. I just thought it was, one of his songs. But my partner is the one who actually told me, no, this is like a classic traditional pop soul song from the 60s. And I was like, oh shit. So I went back and listened to the original version, and it's a cool song, but Frank Ocean really does it in his own style and in his own way and brings that song to a new generation of people that, like myself, otherwise may have not known the song. Another example of this that I always think about is Alien Ant Farm's version of Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson. I loved that song as a kid, and I don't think I would have been sitting around listening to the Michael Jackson version of Smooth Criminal. But honestly, I already knew about Michael Jackson before I heard that song, but hearing that song in that way just kind of did something in my brain. It made something like disconnect that needed to be disconnected so I could like perceive music in a more open way. It sounds so stupid because it's fucking Alien Ant Farm, but like it really is true. All right, there's a million examples of great cover songs in the realm of pop music, but I want to move on to cover songs in hip hop and how there basically are no cover songs in hip hop. And why do I think that is? I think part of it is the what the listener is trying to get and what the artist is trying to portray in hip hop a lot of the times is authenticity. So you want to hear them speaking about their life. You don't necessarily want to hear them just performing music. Now, I don't think that's the case as much anymore in like modern rap music. I don't think people care about authenticity as much. So I wonder if it'll become more of a thing in hip hop at some point, if people will cover hip hop songs in the same style or a similar style, like in the realm of hip hop. Something that I really don't like is when people take hip hop songs and cover them as like weird, like acoustic pop ballads or whatever, and it's like ironic, you know?
I got broads in Atlanta, twisting dope lean in the Fanta, credit cards in the scammers, hitting a flicks in the bando, Black XC, Phantom, why Dixie look like a panda?
I guess for some people they like that, but I personally think that's silly. I would love to hear an artist that does just straight up covers of hip hop music. I don't know how that would actually happen though, in a way that makes sense and people would want to listen to. I guess a version of covering songs in hip hop is kind of like rapping on a beat, like putting your own verse on a famous beat. That's kind of like the closest thing hip hop has to a cover song. A good place to find examples of this would be when rappers go on radio stations and they do freestyles. You know, the DJ will just play a bunch of beats and the rapper will just put their own bars on famous beats. And it's a way of like checking you to see where your skills are at, where your head is at, and also can you respect the beats of hip hop's past. Essentially, that's how I perceive it, at least. The only example I can really think of a true cover, kind of, in hip-hop, off the top of my head, is Kendrick Lamar, Blow My High, where he takes the Pimp C verse from Jay-Z's Big Pimpin', and he pretty much raps it exactly how Pimp C raps it. He even pitches his voice down to give it that sort of screwed and chopped feel. And I thought that was really cool. It was very tasteful. He didn't cover the entire song. He just took a part directly from another song, knowing that people will hear it and know it's from another song. I feel like that's hard to do in a manner that makes sense, and I don't know if, again, I can't think of any other examples right now, but let me know if there's other ones that I'm not thinking of or that I just don't know about. All right, I want to come back around to when I mentioned style in cover songs earlier. I think cover songs are a great opportunity for an artist to present a song to a listener that they might be familiar with, but in a style that they're not familiar with or that is specific to you as an artist. You know, there's so much music out there. People listen to so much music on streaming, whatever. Even before streaming, there's just so much music in the world. Sometimes it's hard for a new listener to get into an artist if they have nothing to attach themselves to. So a cover song is an opportunity for you to present only your style. Maybe you like arrange the song a little bit, but what they're listening to is your style instead of your songwriting. And that's something that's very interesting to me right now as an artist, where I'm not really focused on songwriting as much right now, but I really want to kind of reteach myself how to record songs. And something that I used to do when I was a kid, like really young, when I first started playing guitar and getting into it, like for real, is the same thing every young guitar player does. They look up tabs to their favorite songs and they learn their favorite songs. And it's a good way to get the mechanics of the instrument down, or even just the mechanics of a song down. It's a good way to give you a blueprint that you can use in the future. You don't necessarily have to just copy it exactly, but it gives you a baseline to work with for your own stuff. And I think that's something that I am very interested right now and that I think I need right now. So who knows? Maybe in the future, you guys will hear some cover songs from me. But I think that's about it for this video. I really appreciate everyone listening. There's a bunch of new subs on the channel too. So if this is your first Sunday checking out the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by and checking out my videos. I have a bunch of other ones on my channel where I talk about similar topics, you know, music, art, mental health, everything in between. I stream on Twitch. I'm going to be doing that again. I was traveling for a while, but I'm back. Discord server link also in the description. That's where I'm going to ultimately build this community. It's in the early stages, but you can go check it out there. There's going to be some little extra stuff happening there soon. And I make a new piece of music for every video. I play it at the end. I'm going to play it now. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you next time.